Alright, this is a video that needs making. Alright, there is a very, very, very serious problem going on in the world at the moment, and it is the obsession with automation. At best, it's irritating, frustrating, and it takes control away from you. And at worst, it will end up killing people. Unintentionally. I'm not talking about, in the military sense, where perhaps that might be the agenda, but the point is that for two reasons, right? First of all, a machine cannot decide what is right for a person. It cannot. It must not. If you want an example of this, a film called I, Robot, based upon a book by a guy called Isaac Asimov, which I think was originally called Do Robots Have Electronic Dreams or something like that. It's a really good example of this. Leaving automated systems to make human decisions is a mistake. A massive, fundamental mistake. And with this AI nonsense becoming more prevalent, it's going to get worse. And here's the reason I'm making this video today is because I was just using an old version, 2010 version of Microsoft Excel. And that's a program you use to make spreadsheets. And Control and Y, or Control and Z is undo on your keyboard. Control and Y is redo. Some moron decided that Control Y also applies to the print function. So I've just printed something, and I accidentally, because I wanted to undo something, I'm redoing an editing function to my spreadsheet, and I get to the end of it, I press Control Y again, just to make sure I've gotten to the end of all the redo functions, and my printer starts up. Not only once, but twice, because I've pressed the key twice. What moron decided that was a good idea? So what's happening now in companies, especially in software design companies, but in Microsoft, is they've got a room full of morons who are deciding, okay, how can we try and do everything for the user that they might want to do automatically, so it's all more efficient? These people are out of their minds, and they need to be stopped. Because the same attitude is going to be applied to everything. We're going to automate everything because people shouldn't be making their own decisions. Can you imagine how dangerous that is? So soon, people won't be going and studying to be doctors or solicitors or engineers or whatever it is. All the decisions are made for them. We know how it works best. Somebody 40 years ago wrote down how it works best, and that's been programmed into the computer, and all the robots do it for us. Oh, am I dribbling? That's what's going to happen. I know that's probably more extreme, but it's going to go that way. Already you can see in everyday culture, people are just literally not educated to think. They are educated to just do what the book says. Don't think for yourself, yeah? And that's going to kill people. I was thinking the other day, what if I come across someone in the street who's fallen down and they're clearly in need of CPR, cardiopulmonary resuscitation, right? That means getting their heart and lungs working again. Well, apparently the current wisdom is, no, don't breathe into their mouths. It won't help. What is this nonsense? That's purely a legal decision to protect people just in case someone who does that, who breathes into someone else's mouth to try and get their lungs full of oxygen, which they might need to kickstart their body into life again, catches an illness from them. Oh no, we can't be found to have advised people to do that, so they advise people not to do it. What nonsense! What absolute garbage! We cannot allow our society to go down the pan this way. We can't do it. We must not do it. I'm sick of seeing this nonsense. The whole of society is I know exactly why. I know exactly who started this nonsense. And I know why they did it. But it has to be stopped. I don't even need to focus on those people who have started this. to try and mess up society so that it's all controllable, so that they in particular are protected from the rest of society. We can't carry on like this. It's nonsense, and people need to be actually encouraged to think for themselves. Oh no, they're dangerous if they think for themselves. No, they're not dangerous. They are an asset. All this automation is breeding a society of literally idiots, and that's why at Microsoft they've got a room full of unthinking morons who are sitting there going, right, how can we make it more automated? I tell you what, we'll also put a fluffy polar bear picture on the operating system. Why? Because there isn't one. Oh really? That's sensible. So they've come to the point where they can't improve the thing anymore, though they're trying to by messing with it, that they want to add fluffy things to it. And this, I have to say, I draw back to feminism. Feminism is the ruination of this society. Alright? You can say what you like to me and I don't care. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of seeing men walking down the road pushing pushchairs. I'm tired of it. Now and then it would be an odd thing to see, and now it's routine. I'm tired of seeing the divorce rate in this country, in this society. It's ridiculous. It's busting up families left, right and centre. Oh, we're calling it blended families now, when two busted, broken families are being joined by two people who are trying to find some way of being together. I blame feminism for this. Through and through. 100%. Women and men are different. They make decisions differently. Society runs best when men are making rational decisions. Women tend not to be as rational as men. I'm happy to debate anybody on this. They make decisions differently, and the effect of feminism is that we've planted a mass of women in positions of decision making, and men are sitting there going, oh hang on, how do I make decisions so that I don't offend or upset this woman, rather than Jack's an idiot, he needs to get the boot. That's how men make decisions. They are decisive and they are rational, usually. I mean, men can have emotional moments when they are getting angry, but their rational mind is usually engaged. They're angry because they're frustrated at trying to solve a problem. When a woman makes a decision, she doesn't usually go to the point of anger or something. She's always saying, how can I make things more amenable? That's not how men work. Men are like, how do I make it work? They don't care if it's fluffy. They don't care if someone gets bothered by it. Because in a man's world, you are responsible for making sure that you adapt to things properly. And if there's a problem, you stand up and say, and the problem gets solved. That's the man's world. That's why they always say it's a man's world. It is a man's world. And it's made so for the benefit of women. Men have always broken their backs to provide for women. And now we're being told, oh, we're bad. Oh, we're oppressive. Oh, we're abusive. Get out of my face with that nonsense. Men will happily lay down their lives on behalf of a woman they love. Happily, easily, and they have done routinely throughout history. I'm tired of seeing men run down, and this infection is resulting in this nonsense in society. Men can see the danger coming. Women tend not to see it. That's just how we're programmed. Men are on the lookout because they are responsible for the tribe. That's how we are programmed. It's millions of years old, or hundreds of thousands, however old it is. It's fundamental to our programming, and we must not forget it. All because I was using Microsoft Excel and it didn't do what I wanted it to do. But there are reasons behind it, because these fools are out of control. No one is standing there. The person who stands up in that meeting when they realise that a nonsensical decision is being made, who says, Jack, that is nonsense. That's nonsense. Everyone looks at him and goes, oh, you can't say that. He needs to get fired. because he said and he criticised. That's the attitude. That's the whole ethos of society now. If you speak to any man in society, and there are lots of males out there, but the real men, if you ask any man, does he feel free to speak his mind in our society, he will say no. He will say, I do not feel nowadays as though I can say it how it is. And the thing is that saying it how it is truth. It's honesty, and you can rely on that. Even if the guy's wrong, as long as he's being honest, it's the best you're going to get. If someone's worried about what they want to say all the time, then they're not going to tell you the truth. They're going to lie. They're going to try and avoid confrontation. And now and then you need to confront things. You need to have the... What's the polite way of saying male components to do this kind of thing? Let's call it guts. But it's often referred to as part of the male anatomy. Right? You need those. Why? Because men are known for it. Men are the ones who stand up. Now that's not to say that women don't have courage, because they do. But men are the people who should be standing up, and it's only in a condition when they haven't performed their duty that a woman may need to stand up. That's the whole point of manhood. So let's not forget it. There is manhood and there is womanhood. Being a man, manhood is a responsibility and a duty. That's the truth of it. It's not a case of always getting it perfectly right. But it is a duty that we must meet. Because you can see around you, our society is falling through the floor because of this nonsense. I guess I've come to the end of my rant. But this is important. These points are critical, okay? I mean, you can see from my demeanour, I'm not just some ranting, raving loony. I'm not always angry or anything. I'm a chilled, funny guy. But at the same time, when it needs to be said, it needs to be said. When it needs to be done, it needs to be done. The phrase is not, when a woman's got to do what a woman... No, it's when a man's got to do what a man's got to do. There are things that are expected of men. We must meet that responsibility as men. And I am going to start to communicate with as many men as I possibly can, or even just males, to try to get them to understand what manhood is. Because there are a lot of guys out there who are male who are not men. Now, how do you judge that? It's tricky, but there are some people who've observed, and I agree with them, that there are in any culture, or there is in any culture around the world in humanity, something that boys have to go through in order to become men. Alright? I don't know what it is for women. Is it marriage? Is it childbirth that makes them into a woman? But for a man, he has to prove himself in some way. He has to distinguish himself before other men. He has to face the challenge that he goes through, that he's essentially dragged through by the elders of the tribe or the group. And that's what makes a man. That's what sets him apart from being a boy. And that's missing from our society. And I would argue definitely that national service would be ideal for taking all the... I don't really want to use profanity in this video. I'm not going to. All the young lads who aren't doing much, and there are brilliant words for them, off of their backsides and getting them sharp, getting them thinking about how they ought to be and what they owe to society, because we do. We owe society. We sit there, it's been inculcated in us to depend on society. Society will provide for you. It will not. You owe society. It's there in a jam, yeah. But you owe society, and only then can it possibly give back to you. And our country needs us, our society needs us. We must not abandon it. We must not sit and pretend it's all going to be there. We must work for it. We must push for it, and we are responsible for giving. We are responsible for being responsible to our country, if that makes sense. We are responsible. We must give to our country, to our nation, to our society. Then and only then can it give back to us. I don't know what else to say. This is an important video. I hope everyone in the world watches it.